Hello everyone and welcome back. In this video, I'm going to go back to the topic that I discussed several months ago, which is what are the options that are available to a family who has a loved one that has been suffering for years and years and years. And I'm making this video because just today, I had a family that unfortunately is now facing the consequences of not taking action. And I'm not here to, to judge. I mean, it's a no judgment zone with me, but you also know I'm going to shoot straight with you guys, and I'm going to tell you how it is, even at risk of offending you, because this is all that I do, and I know what can happen when things can go south. And with somebody who has a behavioral health issue that's been going on for a long time, things can go south quickly and unexpectedly. So if you have a loved one that's been suffering for years and years and years with drug use and mental illness and treatment that apparently doesn't work, perhaps you've even tried a Marchman Act either on your own or with another lawyer and it doesn't work for whatever reason, and I use that term doesn't work very loosely. Perhaps they're not taking their meds, perhaps they've been arrested, perhaps they've been involved in the state's mental health system through the Baker Act process. Maybe they've even overdosed. Those are the things that we typically see, and we speak to mums and dads and other family members from all over the country, as far west as Hawaii, as far north as that sort of northeast, that New England corridor, occasionally out of the country. So over the years, on my own, I've probably spoken to several thousand people, and that doesn't include, the families that my other team members speak to. And so when a family comes to us, I know that they're really in crisis and it's sort of the end of the road. So here are the options. Number one, you can do absolutely nothing. And like any disease, it will continue to get worse until ultimately it probably destroys the host. Probably, okay? And your family along with it. Number two, you can do nothing. And if something tragic doesn't happen, in all likelihood, the state will step in and do it for you, either through the criminal justice system, because people who have these issues tend to get arrested. And the case I'm going to talk to you about is where somebody got arrested and is now facing serious prison time, or the state will take your loved one and place them in the mental health system through the Baker Act process, okay? And I've waxed poetic about my contempt for Florida's draconian and broken mental health system. Or the other option is you can do something about this. You can take action. Now, some families say to me, well, I don't understand. Why doesn't he or she or they, why don't they stop doing this? And I think what you need to understand is if they could, they would. Nobody would rationally choose to live, the way they're living. And what's really gone on here is that their brain has been kidnapped. It looks like your loved one. Sounds like your loved one, it walks like your loved one, but it is not your loved one that is running the show. At some point in time, probably several years ago, their brain was hijacked by this horrible behavioral health disease that is now taking complete control of their life. It's why they're in denial. In fact, they're probably telling you there's nothing wrong with them and that you are the problem, right? It's why they can't hold down a job, why they can't function at work. If they can even hold a job, they may be flunking out of school. They probably can't maintain any kind of intimate relationship with anybody for any significant period of time, at least somebody that's, stable and a good influence on their life. It's why, the family members, why mom and dad can't sleep at night. Maybe you're fighting. Maybe there are siblings involved and they've moved out of the house because they just can't stand to be around it. And so when I say to you that, the option is you do something, what I'm talking about is getting the authority, the legal right to make the decision to save your loved one and put them in treatment that is clinically appropriate and keep them there long enough. You need that authority because if they're over 18, they get to decide their mental health decisions, their medical decisions, all of that stuff. You need that authority. You need that empowerment so you can make the decision to save them because they cannot make it. Now, in this particular situation that I'm going to talk to you about, the family had called us probably every 6 months for the last 2 years. And they just could not make the decision to frankly commit to saving their adult child. I think on one time my notes reflect that a Marchman Act was filed, and I believe they tried to do that themselves, which frankly, I think is a very difficult road. I think it's an exercise in futility and frustration, because even if you can get the paperwork right, and I think that's challenging in and of itself, if you can get yourself into court, your loved one's going to get a lawyer appointed and they're going to eat you for breakfast. You're going to lose that case. And now your loved one feels empowered because, well, you took them to court and they lost. And you lost and they won. And so it can be frustrating. So I think that doing a Marchman Act on your own is, I think it's a fool's paradise. Guardianship is going to need a lawyer, and the Baker Act is not designed for treatment. Okay, so you don't want to be running to court filing a Baker Act. If there's an emergency situation, you pick up the phone, call 911, and then you let the police decide if they're going to Baker Act your loved one. But in this particular instance, as I indicated, this has been going on for a while. And the call that I got this morning was from the family saying, I think we've decided to do something. Okay, well, where is your loved one? He's in jail. He's in the local county jail. And I said, okay, let me see what he's charged with. And I went to the booking blotter, the sheriff's office booking blotter, because the arrests are, for the most part, public record, and anybody can go on the internet and look. And he's charged with, I think it's 4 counts, 3 of them are felonies. And based on what I read, I suspect he's going to be going to prison. Not the county jail, I'm talking about the state penitentiary. And probably going to be going there, again, based on the charges, I'd say somewhere between 3 to 5 years. That's what they're facing. And as I told you at the beginning, one of the options is the state steps in and takes care of this for you, either through the criminal system or the mental health system. Well, in this particular situation, the state has stepped in and they've taken their son away from them. And now their ability to make decisions for him, especially the decision to save him, has been taken away from them. They no longer have that right, that authority. I mean, even if we could go into court and get, say, for instance, guardianship, I mean, the criminal case is going to trump the guardianship. And if ultimately a criminal judge decides he's going to prison, even if we have guardianship, you know where he's going? He's going to prison. He's going to go to the state pen and he's going to do time. And that's how this works. And so if you're our family and you're just done, and I get it if you're done, then we want to talk to you. I mean, you could talk to a member of my team for free. I have resources for free. I do one of these videos every single day, pretty much. And I put it out there on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Vimeo. And I got to tell you, I'm not a tech expert, but I know how to do this stuff. And I do it so that you have the information you need and you don't have to pay me or any other lawyer for it. And these videos, pretty much all of them are based on real cases. You know, I may change some names and things, obviously, to protect confidentiality, but I'm telling you how it works in the real world. You want to go read a statute, just go Google it. But I'm telling you how this stuff works in the real world. And it doesn't work the same in every single county here in Florida. Every county does these things differently, which is why, you know, I say if you're going to hire a lawyer, hire somebody who's done several hundred of these cases so they know how it works. If you're in Jacksonville, if you're in Tampa, if you're in Orlando, if you're in Brown or Palm Beach or Miami, because they all do it differently. And you need to know those differences. You need to file the case right, and you need to know what you're dealing with. And so I hope that helps the family out there. I don't want to see any of you have a loved one that goes to prison. I don't think people get well in prison. I think they come out bitter and angry. That's my experience. And some prisons, especially federal, have really great drugs in them as well. So again, just not a good place to go. I hope that helps you. I appreciate you tuning in. I would love a thumbs up. Please subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.